I fell into a master's in criminology and terrorism security. Everyone is unbelievably friendly in this industry, and the range of knowledge that you're able to pick up is how the world of mobile gaming works. Because again, sort of 4 years ago, it's not what I thought it was. We had a meeting a few weeks ago for sort of 2027 planning, and I was sort of sat there like,
2027.
2027, yeah. I was like, oh, we're still not for 2026 yet. It's been
Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of Game with Heroes. Today I'm joined by someone whose journey as an interesting as the industry he works in. He's been instrumental in shaping must-attend events for mobile game professionals. Please welcome Josh from the Gamesforum team.
Hi, I'm Josh. I head up the production at Gamesforum. I've been there for just over 3 years, and I look after all of our UA, ad monetization, and product content tracks across Europe, America, and in Hanoi as well this year in Vietnam.
And what attracted you to games industry?
So I think it was kind of by chance meeting ultimately. I've always loved gaming since I was a kid, and I think the one thing I always found is I never really understood how to get a career in gaming, what that might look like, sort of a pathway to that despite being a massive gamer. So I sort of kind of followed what I thought makes sense from uni, studying politics and international relations. I fell into a master's in criminology and terrorism security and policing, which was very interesting, but kind of realized that's not maybe what I want to do. But nonetheless, I kind of followed that career. I ended up doing automotive cybersecurity events, which again, very interesting, but my heart was still in gaming. And one day I was scrolling through LinkedIn and a job popped up for an event manager in mobile gaming in particular, which again, not something I'd ever considered. The only thing I wanted to do when I left uni was travel a bit. And I knew that for events, obviously there is an amazing capacity to travel. With automotive, I went to the beautiful cities of Berlin and I also ended up in Detroit, which was a very cool city, not somewhere I ever thought I'd go. But yeah, it's kind of been the perfect opportunity to make the most of that kind of more adventurous side as well and see some amazing places that, again, traditionally I may not have been to. But yeah, it was kind of just a job that popped up at the right time and I fell into it.
And was there a pivotal moment or a project that ignited your passion for events specifically?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. And I was trying to think about if there was sort of a distinct moment. I think for me, there wasn't sort of a pivotal one as such, but I know I've always had a fascination for organization and for research as well, and speaking to people, understanding a bit more about kind of what they want to hear, what ticks, how things are working within an industry and diving deep into it. So there's always been some extent of this desire to learn more and this, I guess, a natural curiosity around that. As I said, I've always kind of enjoyed gathering data, asking people questions and finding out how things work ultimately. So I think this combined with how friendly the mobile gaming industry is, it's made my job really enjoyable and, to be honest, quite easy as well. Everyone is unbelievably friendly in this industry and the range of knowledge that you're able to pick up as well is very cool. So I think it's just kind of fueled that desire to learn more, to be curious and find out how the world of mobile gaming works. Because again, sort of 4 years ago, it's not what I thought it was, but in a very, very good way, I suppose.
And as a head of product, what is your vision for Gamesforum and how do you ensure that each event offers new value to industry professionals?
Yeah, I think this is possibly one of the hardest questions because it's hard to kind of put into words your day to day,
Yeah.
which is, yeah, it's always a challenge. I think the vision that we have is kind of ultimately built on, again, research. And I think what people enjoy most about our events from the feedback and the kind of conversations you have on the ground in Hamburg or Barcelona or San Francisco, wherever it may be, it's this a sort of focused nature that allows people to know that everyone in that room is relevant for them, is working in mobile gaming, either on marketing, monetization, on the product side. And you know that everyone's there to share ideas, share knowledge, share insights as well, be it on the stage, be it in roundtables. So I think there are kind of like 3 cool things that we do to really highlight that, I suppose. First, like I said, is research, just speaking to as many people as possible, finding out what's going on in the industry, what the challenges are, just, again, reinforcing that idea that we're on the right track, I suppose. The 2 bits are a bit more, the 2 other bits, I suppose, are a bit more on us. One of them looking more at the innovation side. So one thing that I'm trying to do a lot at the moment is looking at how we run our events, the kind of content we run as well. And one thing I've noticed a lot in the last year in particular is there's this desire for sort of more focused sessions, more interactive discussions, that kind of closed door scenario where you're in a room with maybe 10, 12 people who are doing the same job as you, going through the same motions. They'll be from different companies, but just to kind of, I guess ultimately in a way, sort of hear what's going on in the industry, make sure maybe you're not the only one facing a certain issue as well.
Yeah.
Also hear how people are innovating, which is very cool. And then the second point to that as well is kind of defining the USPs for what we do at our events. I think, again, we've kind of realized in the last few years in particular, sort of with the focus on UA and ad monetization, things are changing fundamentally. And with that, the way people want to learn as well changes. So I think for Hammer in particular, most recently, we took a slightly different approach. We broke the day down. As opposed to doing it by UA and ad monetization, we did it by game genre. So domains like mid-core, casual, hyper
Mm-hmm.
casual as well. Exploring them sort of, again, the main kind of marketing monetization challenges, product challenges. But what it meant is that you could go into a room with, admittedly fewer people, so 30, 40 people, let's say, but you could have that kind of actual insight that's very specific to your game as well. So it's just trying to stay ahead of the curve, offer new ways for people to innovate as well. And we're kind of exploring how for 2026 we take this that step further and allow more people the opportunity to, break down their challenges, I suppose, or concerns, whatever that may be.
And what are the top 3 challenges facing mobile games in 2025?
Yeah, it's a very well-timed interview for that. We're starting to work on our sort of annual mobile game challenge report at the moment. So it's been a lot of gathering the challenges, finding out, again, what's making people frustrated at the moment, what are their biggest concerns. So very, very timely. I think, unfortunately, there's nothing too sort of new in the sense of the challenges, realistically. I think there's no secret it's been sort of a very turbulent time, and we do seem to be a bit of a turning point. I think there is a lot more optimism. There is a lot more positivity. You can feel it a bit more at the events now as well. Even looking at sort of game launches as well, we're kind of beginning to pick back up after sort of a lull through 2023. So things feel like they're going in the right direction. But for the challenges, I think the first one involving UA, again, it's nothing
Mm-hmm.
too sort of, I guess, new. It's market saturation. It's high CPIs. They're massive blockers for UA managers, affecting how they're operating day to day as well. I think that's kind of reflected in how teams are going about their marketing or performance marketing strategy for 2026 and the rest of 2025 as well. I think the two kind of interesting ones, which are kind of counter opposites as well when it comes to UA, are sort of this nature of rewarded networks versus long-term retention.
Mm-hmm.
So on the rewarded side, this surgency of the number of networks. It feels like most companies do have some kind of rewarded offering, but I think my advice and kind of the feeling we get at the events as well, and when I chat to people, is that it's not a case of one size fits all. You have to test the networks. You have to go through the motions and definitely test them, have conversations. Each one will have their own offering and one of them may be better for you, but you can also stack them. There's nothing stopping you using multiple ones to try and, make the most of that traffic too. So that's kind of the more sort of, I wouldn't say so much short term, but sort of you have that payback window in some cases, when that traffic may drop off. So you have that ability to funnel in those players and get that engagement. And then the second one, again, kind of the counter opposite, is more on the retention side. And it's
Mm-hmm.
this idea that I think in 2024, in the challenge report we did for 2025, in last December, I should say, we found that one of the biggest challenges for both UA managers and product managers was this idea of trying to achieve sustainable growth, looking beyond sort of short windows, how players are going to retain for a long time, looking at LTV curve as well. And I think this kind of falls on a number of things. Achieving good retention it's not just limited to one thing or the other. Ultimately, it's ad experiences and placements, segmenting, like properly segmented monetization strategies, stepping up live operations, and bringing fresh content, whatever the game genre is as well, sort of keeping things innovative, keeping things fresh, keeping things new as well. I think that also speaks as more sort of brand marketing, collaborations, partnerships. Seen a bit more of it recently, I think, with sort of companies moving beyond traditional pay campaigns, looking at, in the US, for example, some of these multi-million-dollar ad campaigns that you've seen from these massive companies as well, kind of analyzing what the success of that is, both in downloads, but also just brand recognition as well is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I've gone into a little bit of a rabbit hole there. But the kind of the other, I suppose the other core challenge links to this as well that I see, and again, it's kind of more on the monetization side.
Mm-hmm.
Just smarter monetization. It's not enough to show ads and hope that things are going to sort of tick along anymore. Not to say that that's what companies did, but I think there is now a need to be a bit more, to have more intelligence. I think it's not enough, like I said, to just show ads. There's a true art to your placements and your ad experiences, but there's also a science to your segmentation and your data.
Yeah.
It's marrying that creativity and that analytical side to really inform the kind of experience you want your players to have, be it the payers, the non-payers, and how you segment them by geos as well. And also, of course, with IAP revenue in general, making the most of web shops, trying to take back some of that percentage that was going to the stores before. But also there's a great opportunity there to kind of breathe new life for your players, build
Yeah.
great third-party experiences. And there's a few that I've heard of recently that are really cool and are kind of building on that player trust, that player communication, that player engagement, and the general experience of the game to bolster revenue, but also to bolster retention and re-engagement as well. So yeah, just kind of a few thoughts on challenges, I suppose, and some bits that I've picked up on kind of what people are doing to try and yeah, keep things going for 2025 and moving into 2026.
Amazing. Yes. And taking into consideration your career in organizing events, so what is the best advice you can give someone who is looking to enter the games or maybe events side of this industry, of our industry?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's again, sort of with the work that we do in America as well for the San Francisco event, there is definitely been a bit of a difficult time recently for those in the industry as well. So to both those sort of looking to get into the industry, but also those who have experienced layoffs or companies
Mm-hmm.
going through the motions as well.
Yeah.
My best advice would be just to check out resources, of course, like your podcast, as well as the 2.5 Gamers, obviously
Yeah.
Deconstructing Fun, um, but also the kind of the news resources like mobilegamer.biz. And I think when it comes to specific job resources as well, Omir from Gamion and his newsletter, the job board he has on the site as well. But of
Yeah.
course, Amir from Tencent as well, his gaming community is a great place to meet people and to kind of, yeah, I think that's the thing. It's remembering that, in the case where you maybe have gone through layoffs, you're not alone. There are people out there who are there to support you as well. But I think that's the main thing. This industry has a great network of people who are there to support. So just making the most of it and speaking to people ultimately, having conversations, finding out a little bit more about what people do as well, be it just dropping a message on LinkedIn or an email, whichever works best. But yeah, it's a very helpful industry. So just having a chat with people, finding out what's going on, and yeah, just reading through the news, I suppose.
Exactly. Do not be afraid to write someone on LinkedIn. I like how our industry is helping each other, very responsive and supportive. If maybe I can't help or I it's not my area, of expertise. I for sure, maybe 99% I will know someone who I can redirect this message of if I can share some communities, groups, newsletters, exactly as you mentioned. Super valuable. Recommend to subscribe everywhere you can. Follow the news, follow the also we have a lot of people who are posting sometimes some jobs on the markets available. So that's also super useful. And also events. I think if you
Yes.
can't travel, but if there are some local events, meetups, just go there and talk with people.
Yeah.
That's for sure, yeah, will help.
It can be intimidating and it's difficult as well to kind of make that
Yeah.
into a room, but everyone is there to chat and have, the same kind of conversation. So it might be
Yeah.
out of depth or out of comfort, but it's 100% worth going to events. And yeah, again, like kind of just having those conversations, you never know what might happen.
Yeah, for sure. And you never know when will tomorrow the person that you're talking with will work. So that's
Yeah,
also
exactly.
very important.
This industry moves around a lot.
Yeah. So also, I'm interested, how do Gamesforum events facilitate meaningful collaboration between product, user acquisition, and monetization professionals?
Yeah, I think it kind of,
Interesting.
yeah, it's an interesting one because I think sort of, again, when I started at Games from 3 years ago, it was obviously three very different disciplines. There was
Hmm.
communication, but it was very siloed work. I think the kind of last 2 years in particular, we've seen a lot of those silos break down. First, between sort of ad monetization and monetization teams, with what's happening in the industry and what's sort of gone on with bidding and what mediation platforms are doing as well. There has been a shift in the workload of ad monetization managers to require more of a product focused approach to their work as well. And on the UA side as well, with increasing automation and again, kind of the industry shifting, I suppose, there is sort of this reliance now or this instance in which creative is the big and final last bastion of control for UA managers. So these teams are becoming increasingly intertwined with the work they're doing. You're seeing more game teams popping up as opposed to these silo kind of UA, admon, and product structures for companies. But yeah, I would say from that in particular, you know, I think the events that we do at Gamesforum, because everyone is in the same room, everyone is working on mobile gaming, there's always the opportunity to chat with people who are like-minded, who are doing the same job, who might be having the same challenges as well, or
Yeah.
may have solved the challenges a little while ago. You never know. So because you can walk into the room and know that everyone's relevant, it makes it so much easier to have those conversations, as we were saying a minute ago as well, in terms of the people you're going to speak to. Yeah, you know that everyone is there, so it's always worth pulling someone for a chat or getting on a networking tool and booking a meeting. The worst thing that's going to happen is someone's going to say, "Oh, I can't do that time."
And the question is not about the games form, but what you do between the events planning. So how do you relax before? Because I know that events, to plan an event, it's not like you start in a month or in 2 in a 3. It's usually it's a very long process which starts ahead of events, I don't know, 6 months or even more. But if you have some time when you're not planning events and you can rest, what are you doing? How you find inspiration also?
Yeah. It's a really good point. I think we had a meeting a few weeks ago for sort of 2027 planning, and I was sort of sat there like,
Oh, 2027.
2027. Yeah, I was like, oh, we're still not in 2026 yet. 2025 is not over, but it's good. I think because of the nature of events, obviously, if you take it down to as far as booking venues and stuff like that, like especially as the events
Sure,
getting
yeah.
bigger, it requires a longer window. So yeah, it's a really interesting question. I think for me, there are kind of two main things that I do between the events and around the events as well to keep things, to not to keep myself sane as such, but to, kind of keep myself relaxed as well. The first being gaming. I'm a big fan of turn-based sort of strategy games like Civilization, but also like on mobile playing stuff like Block Blast when I'm on my commute, or Northgard as well, which is sort of a Nordic kind of settler game as well, which is very cool. I've also been playing Pokemon Brilliant Diamond on my Switch as well recently again, which has been a bit of a throwback to childhood. So that's definitely a big avenue for me. And the other one is kind of more to blow out the cobwebs when I've sort of been sat down all day. And I try to do 3 or 4 sort of hit/high rocks classes a week just to
Hmm.
keep energy up, but also to release energy as well, ultimately. Um, Keep me somewhat fit because it is a lot when you're sort of sat down all day.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're kind of my two biggest avenues. In terms of the inspiration, I think it's quite easy to keep inspired when you are speaking to all these incredible people. At the moment, working on
Mm.
sort of London, San Francisco, and Vietnam at the same time, I was speaking to 3 very different industries in very different sort of life cycles ultimately as well. Obviously, with Vietnam, what's happening there is crazy inspiring. The kind of success stories that they're seeing, it's not hard to get really excited. And the same for San Francisco as well. How people are innovating. Obviously, the presence of these entertainment providers like Netflix, the work that's going on there as well is very cool to understand and hear a bit more about. So yeah, for the inspiration side, it's super easy. It's a very, very fortunate industry for that.
And what's your favorite game of all time?
Yeah. So this is again was one of the hardest questions to kind of answer. There's a game that I think I probably have the most hours in. It's a game called RimWorld, which is a very odd sort of sci-fi colony simulation game where you sort of crash land on this planet on the outer rim and you're trying to rebuild civilization. It has like this really kind of quite clever AI storyteller as well that always keeps you on your toes. So yeah, I'm never surprised. I pick it up and I'll play it for hours on end and then drop it for maybe a couple of weeks and pick it back up. So that's probably my go-to one of all time.
And what's your guilty pleasure?
So this was the other question that I found really hard. I think it's
If we're not talking about games,
if yes,
that would be
yeah,
very hard. Yeah.
yeah. I think I moved with my partner about 3 years ago, and they love Love Island, the TV show. I kind of started off, I would be sort of just in the kitchen cooking, not paying any attention, and then something would be said, I'd sort of my head would turn, and then over the years, I've just become increasingly more invested. So that's probably my guilty pleasure, and I hate that I watch it and I enjoy it, but I do, unfortunately.
That's the jokes where you can see this. Like I don't want to watch it. You
Yeah,
watch, I will cook, I will clean, but then you start
yeah,
hearing the names and you know the names and you're
yeah,
already interested why they're gossiping, what's going on.
yeah,
And then you're just sitting, eating ice cream and watching together
yeah.
in an hour.
Yeah, my head sort of pops around the kitchen door. I'm like, oh, what's happening there? Oh, all right, yeah. I can't believe she said that, or he said that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that's a
And
massive guilty pleasure.
and what's the most interesting one, the UK or other countries? Because I know there are a lot of different countries also filming this
I think
show now.
for now, I'm still at the UK. I haven't committed enough to go to any of the other countries. And there's also like a celebrity one or like an all stars one that I've not
Yeah.
seen yet. I'm building my way there, but maybe in a couple of years I'll be. Yeah, I feel like that's the thing. It takes up it's such a long few weeks. But anyway, sorry.
The next question I have for you is what's one interesting fact about yourself that most people don't know, but I can't imagine that you can answer it better than saying that sometimes you watch Love
Yeah,
Island.
but this one was going to be that I'm a massive rugby fan, so it's kind of I
Oh,
suppose I think there's a crossover maybe, but yeah, I'm a massive rugby fan by comparison, and Love Island as well. But Yeah, so yeah, that's probably the biggest one that people maybe don't know.
Interesting. Okay. The next one is what's your favorite travel destination?
Yeah, I kind of picked two because I think
Hmm.
with working in events,
Yeah.
my favorite cities I've been to for events is Seattle. It's an amazing city.
Mm.
Yeah, just really fell in love with the city itself, and I think because it reminds me of London a lot in terms of the weather and the climate, and yeah, I just really love that city itself. And then for like vacation, I quite like going on like adventure holidays to cold places. So one of my favorite ones is Iceland.
Mm.
It's a very magical place as well. Saw whales and did all sorts of stuff.
What's the best season or what's the best time to go to Iceland?
So we went in December, which
Hmm.
is probably one of the coldest times to go.
Yeah.
It wasn't actually too bad. It wasn't too bad. Uh, but yeah, it's just a very beautiful place. I feel like if you went in the summer as well, it would be equally as amazing. Obviously the days would be a lot longer. That would be the only thing.
And what industry or conference do you enjoy the most and why? That's the easiest question for you.
See, I was going to say Gamesforum because I have to, but I think for me, aside from Gamescom, the probably my favorite one is Gamescom. I think just
Hmm.
because it's the one I kind of watch a lot as a child. On YouTube,
Hmm.
people vlogging, going to. It's one that I always wanted to go to as well. So when I'm there, I'll do my meetings normally for the Tuesday and the Wednesday, and then the Thursday I'll go and check out the B2B area. Um,
And
yeah, it's
just
just a very
enjoy. Yeah.
yeah yeah. It's such an
Amazing.
amazing collection of people and games and just different IPs and stuff like that, which is very cool to see.
What is the next conference after the Gamescom where we can see you?
So yeah, I mean, again, kind of, I suppose for us, the autumn is quite busy. We have our London one in September, San Francisco October, Vietnam
Hmm.
in November, which is a very busy few months. But
Yeah.
after that, the next one that's not games for, I should say, is PGC London, which is always a very
Mm.
cool 2-day event. It's a really good way to start the year as well, I think,
Yeah.
and a very cool venue. So yeah, looking forward to that.
And it's a local event for you, so it's
So
very
local.
easy. No need to travel,
It's
and
yeah,
you must be there. That's, yeah, of course.
it's so
I
nice
love
to go back.
PG's London also.
It's so nice to go back to your own flat and be able to sort of sleep in your own bed as well. And yeah, it's perfect.
When I had event in my city, it felt kind of strange, right? Because when you travel to conference, you go to airports, then you go to a hotel, then you go work, then you have some side events, then you go to hotel and then airport and back home. But when you go to conference and then you back home, it feels like, okay, it feels like I forgot to do something, or why I'm at home, I'm not
Yeah.
at the conference.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel if you have events in London, but for me it was very strange feeling like I'm not even at the conference feeling.
I think that's the thing. It's such a weird. I find it also quite hard to shut off as well if I'm like staying at home for a conference, like in Games from London or PGC London as well. I feel like I should be out at a drink
Doing
or
something somewhere,
networking.
yeah.
But instead, I'm sort of at home in bed by 10 p.m. and it's not a bad way to do events.
Of course. And the last question I have for you for today. So imagine if you could have coffee tomorrow with any person from the industry. I mean, present, past, anyone. So who would it be and what would you ask them?
Yeah, there's so many like people that I would love to grab a coffee with. I think, including people who have obviously done the podcast as well, like Lisa, like Mate,
Yeah.
important people. But I think for me, the person I'd probably go for is I'd get a bubble tea with CK Wang, who's the CEO and co-founder of QApps, who do Snake.io. Just a ridiculously nice guy. We always get one at GDC every year. But yeah, I think he's just a fountain of knowledge and he's just got so much information to share as well. So just the endless questions about how things are
Mm.
going, what they're trying, what they're testing, what they've been working on in the background as well is always really cool and a great catch.
Maybe there is a chance you can have a coffee with him at Games
Yeah.
Forum San Francisco.
Yeah, he will be
If you
speaking.
mention GDC, then yes.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we'll get another bubble tea there, I have no doubt.
Amazing. So thank you so much, Josh. Was amazing chat that we had today. I wish you good luck with a lot of events happening this autumn. London, San Francisco, Vietnam. Each month, I can't imagine how many preparations and a lot of stuff you need to do and prepare, but amazing travels ahead of you, and also wish you amazing time at Gamescom, enjoying these 11 huge pavilions
Yeah, yeah,
running around
getting
and
lost.
a huge amount of side events each day. And hopefully, yep, see you soon at the Games Forum London.
Thank you so much, Melanya. I really appreciate it. See you soon.
Thank you. That's a wrap for today's episode of Game Biz Heroes. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe, leave your feedback, and share it with your friends. See you next time.